Hey everybody, welcome back to another Citrico Central Live. The second one I'm doing in a row, which I wasn't planning on doing, but OG gave me the idea. The fact that as of this morning, I hit a small little milestone of 200 subs. So he suggested to me, why not go with another live? And I thought, why not? I'm that kind of spontaneous kind of guy. So I thought, let's do it, shall we? But again, yes, welcome to Citrico Central Live, where all the birds sing words, pirates pillage and plunder, and the spooks come out for a swinging wake. And that's what we're going to have is another great time. It's a beautiful time to be doing a live, and so glad you're all here to join me. So we do have some people in the chat already. We got Mr. Orange Grove 55. We got Mr. Webba, my babe Abby. We got all the way from the UK, Matthew Murr. And yeah, let's get into the questions, comments, and actually with some of these questions too, somewhat quite concerning. So let's knock that out of the way right off. Starting off with Mr. Orange Grove 55. Are you and Mr. Webba dating? No, we are not, but apparently to Mr. Webba, he believes we are. But it's all in good fun, folks. We love joking around, but yeah, it's yeah. And then Mr. Webba continues, Orange Grove 55. George secretly called me last night and I gave him sexy ASMR whispering over the phone, which I can't resist a good ASMR. I mean, for all who knows me, I do enjoy ASMR, but depending on the content of it, because there is some ASMR that's quite obnoxious, but it has to be done right, so. All right, so let's see. One last one. Mr. Webba says the 55 in Orange Grove 55 stands for 55 clap cheeks with the peaches. So if you know, you know. And Mr. Webba continues, congrats on the 200 subs, brother George, which that's another thing too. He calls me brother George. Every time he does, it makes me feel like I should be like handing out rice and corn in Calcutta. But yeah, we always joke about that. And then Mr. Orange Grove 55 says, yes, congrats on 200 subs. Okay, so let's get into some questions. Starting off with Mr. Orange Grove 55. What is your favorite Disneyland Good Neighbor hotel / motel? Okay, so I've stayed at many Disney Good Neighbor hotels throughout the years since my first time at Disneyland in 2011 for my 21st birthday. Yes, I am a late bloomer for Disneyland, but more recently, it seems like I've been at Disneyland more than Walt Disney World. And I will not disclose how many times I've been to Disneyland since moving out here thus far. I might save that question for a possible giveaway, which would probably be one of the candles that I received from Magic Candle Company, for which, really quick, have to do my plug that I am an affiliate of the Magic Candle Company. If you're feeling down and out and you can't get to a Disney park, but you want to bring the Disney parks to you in your home, they have great products of candles, sprays, hand soaps that bring the magic of any Disney park attraction right to you. So if you are interested in any of their products, I've purchased them over the years. They are phenomenal. If you go to magiccandlecompany.com upon checkout, use my promo code Citrico15 and you'll get 15% off your entire order. So I just wanted to throw that out there one last time. Magic Candle Company, promo code Citrico15. Okay, now that I did my plug, back to Mr. Orange Grove 55's question. So anyway, I've stayed at many Good Neighbor hotels. I stayed at the Portofino Inn. I've stayed at the Castle Inn. I've stayed at more recently the Motel 6, Anaheim Main Gate, and some other hotels. Which, being that I mentioned, I know it is a Motel 6, and I know there are horror stories with the franchise of Motel 6, but I have to say the Anaheim Main Gate one is very top notch. I've stayed there many times. It's convenient to get to the Disneyland Resort by foot, or if you want to take your car, you can. But It's just easier to walk. I've stayed there many times. My good friend Mindy has stayed there many times. Abby, OG, Mr. Webba, Slimer, we all stayed there um, during our first Orange Grove 55 meetup um, last year. So, I mean, I feel like the rooms are decently sized. Everything's clean. The great amenities. They have like uh, a little pantry where you can purchase like snacks and drinks and everything. The pool, the jacuzzi. Oh, absolutely loved the jacuzzi. So I mean, there's many. I had some great experiences at some of the Good Neighbor hotels and not so great experiences. But if you can stay close to the magic, that is a safe, sure bet. Especially, I would love to stay at one of the Disneyland resort hotels one of these times, just for like maybe 1 or 2 nights. But just right now, I can't justify the price. And if I do, I will be spending most of my time at the resort hotel because I could go into the parks anytime. If I'm going to spend that amount of money at either the Disneyland Hotel, the Grand Californian, or even the Pixar Place Hotel, just to maybe do like a hotel resort review, I'll be there most of the time for sure. So to answer your question, OG, I'm for sure you can agree with me. Definitely the Motel 6 Anaheim main gate for sure. And Mr. Webba asks, is Disneyland Resort limited in how many on-property hotels they can build and use because of the overwhelming amount of Good Neighbor hotels? How the hell am I supposed to know that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding with you. I'm just kidding with Yabba. Well, I think it's not the fact of like they're limited in a way because they, with the lack of space. Obviously, with Disneyland Forward, they could potentially add in another hotel, which the long rumor is, and we talked about it on Orange Grove 55, that not if, when they decide to build a third gate over at the Toy Story parking lot. Because I'm sorry, folks, it's almost 75 acres, which is basically the amount of acreage that Disney California is right now. Disney owns all that property, and it is already zoned for theme park space if they wanted to. They're not going to get that amount again in that big of a clump of acreage. So it'll be adjacent to the Disneyland Resort of where it is today. I bet you that Disneyland is kind of looking at how Universal is utilizing like the transportation between the current Universal Orlando Resort and Epic Universe with its hotels. But in any case, when the third gate goes there, they could possibly do adjacent to that another fourth Disneyland Resort hotel, because that would draw in the crowds. I mean, to actually stay into a Disney hotel and walk right into a brand new theme park. Disneyland already has that kind of operations with the Grand Californian that you could just walk into DCA. So, but to do that with a brand new third gate, I mean, that would draw in the crowds like crazy. As far as the limitations go, other than that, I feel like because of the price value of the Disneyland Resort hotels, I think that's where it can hurt them in the long run, especially with the economic impact that not even just the US is going through right now, but just the entire world, that people are, looking at like what they can spend and what they can cut. And I don't know if people are willing right now to spend $700 a night as opposed to maybe $100 a night, where, you could still get the same. I mean, I know it's not on Disney property, but you are adjacent to the resort, and it's like, why not save some money along with it? That's my 2 cents on it. So let's see. Just going through here. Mr. Webba continues. George, are you going to vlog the LA County Fair? I kept on going back and forth with it. Abby and I will be going to the LA County Fair this Saturday. If anybody is out in that area, you happen to spot us, please stop by and say hello. I love the attention. As I said, I don't mind it at all. But to answer your question, Ebba, I was kind of going back and forth uh, with it, but I'm thinking of maybe just posting on Instagram and just taking that day just to kind of like enjoy the fair and just having a day off of that. We will be going to Disneyland tomorrow. We will be filming something. We had an idea of what we could be doing. We still might, or we may do something else just based on our schedule. We'll see, but definitely we'll be filming something tomorrow at Disneyland for sure. And then all the way from the UK, Mr. Matthew Murr. Let's see. I'm going to make a bit of a contrarian take on Disney's 100th. I think the ultimate reason why Walt Disney Animation Studios didn't go as hard as I did with Wish or Once Upon a Studio is because Disney 100 could never truly be as big. Yeah, I can understand your concern with that, Matthew, and I actually agree with you because I did touch upon that yesterday, where when you have a milestone like 100th of the whole entire company, it's not just a milestone of a theme park or a particular film, it's the company as a whole. There's nothing really that you can do that would really like top that. It's just the celebratory of 100 years of the company. And again, that's where I feel like they stumbled with Wish. Now, again, I enjoyed Wish. I think it is a great movie, but the way that they promoted and marketed that film of like it's 100 years in the making, it all leads to this, from the creative studio that brought you Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Snow White, Cinderella. It's like that's putting so much pressure on a film that should be like the grandest, which really, is there ever really a film that's going to be like so grand that it honestly, and I mentioned this yesterday on the live, that I feel like for me, the only animated film that I think would ever reach that feat has already been made, and that's with Beauty and the Beast. So that's just my opinion. But yes, I do see your point, Matthew. Let's see. He continues on. As Mickey's 100th anniversary in 2028, I think if the anniversary was centered more exclusively around Walt Disney Animated Studios, then they'd feel more emboldened to go bigger and harder. But what do you say? Yeah, as I was mentioning, sorry, I didn't see that it was like a two-parter there. But yeah, to kind of continue on what I was saying, yeah, I feel like if it was just focused on something in particular, I think that would be a more safe, sure bet that they can kind of sort of like what they did with Wondrous Journeys, where with the fireworks show, it's centered around Disney animation. And I feel like they did that correct for the Disney 100. It is coming back for Disneyland 70th. I'm excited to see it again. However, I'm not sure as to why that they brought that particular fireworks show back, being that it's about Disney animation, and this is centered on Disneyland's Disney animation and Disneyland's 70th anniversary. It just doesn't concur to me, unless that they're planning on doing a bigger, grander fireworks show for Disneyland 75th. So they can't really, I mean, it's a 5-year gap. I mean, if they really wanted to, they could, but I think they're just trying to kind of like bring back a lot of beloved attractions, so to speak, for the 70th. I think that's the main goal. I think it wasn't necessarily the theme. It was just, okay, in celebratory of Disneyland's 70th milestone, 70th anniversary milestone, excuse me, let's bring back, things that people loved. And Wondrous Journeys was one of them, along with the Paint the Night Parade, which I'm absolutely ecstatic over. I cannot wait to see that again. It has been years upon years. I've been waiting to see that. Let's see. Matthew Murr continues. I recall this quote by Walt. I'm planning a new picture. We don't think of grown-ups and we don't think of children, but just that fine, clean, unspoiled spot down deep in every one of us. Absolutely. I love that quote from Walt. I actually listened to the audio footage of him saying that. And that is so true. Do you think Walt was referring only to full-length features, or did he also mean that the ageless appeal also extended to shorts? Honestly, I think I think it even goes even just beyond the animation. I think he, at that time he may have, just mentioned like a picture at that time, but I think he took that that quote, that statement, and he honed it in on everything that he's ever put his fingerprints on, and that's including the Disney parks, that's including Disneyland, that's even including his plans for Walt Disney World. Even though unfortunately he didn't get to see it, and it hasn't been his original vision, especially with Epcot, but I feel like everything that he has ever dreamt or worked on, that was always his mentality, that it wasn't just for one set of people. It was for all, the young and the young at heart. See, Mr. Orange Grove 55 says, question for the Citrico Central audience. Would you like to see George and I interview guests in the parks, ask guests nerdy questions, ask about FanFest, cosplay, outfits, inspirations, etc.? Yes, OG and I have been talking about this for a while now, especially like at the very beginning of the start of my channel, of possibly interviewing people in the parks. Of course, if they're willing to do so, if they have downtime, not to kind of like spoil or interrupt, their daily schedule. But if they're willing, that they, would answer some questions or strike up a conversation. What do you all think? Do you think that's a good idea? Would you like to see that on the channel? Because we're trying to come up with some ideas like that would set my channel aside from like just a typical other like vlogger channel. I want to make it my own. I want more original stuff, to say, hey, this is the Disney Italiano channel, So yeah, tell us what you think. Let's see. And then we got my babe, Abby. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining and everyone's support. Congratulations on 200 subs, babe. Can't wait to see how far we can go. Absolutely. And thank you so much, babe. And I appreciate your support and your help with everything. It really means a lot to me, because Lord knows I'd never had that before with my significant other. So thank you so much. And yeah, I can't wait to see how far we'll go. And, I think we can go the distance. And let's see, Abby continues, Citrico Central fam, what other kind of in-park content would you like to see? Any suggestions or ideas for videos, vlogs? Let us know. Absolutely. And actually, Abby, you took the words right out of my mouth, because I was just going to go off of that from OG's question, is if anyone has any comments, ideas, opinions, critiques, anything you personally would like to see as a vlog, as a video, throw it in there. Just, I have the same mentality as Walt. Any idea is not a bad idea, so yes, throw it in there. Let's see. And OG says, you look like this other creator, Disney Family Man 23. Striking similarities. I've been told that many times before, that I look like that guy. And I think he was kind of stealing my charming, dastardly good looks. So let's see. Orange Grove 55. I've been to Universal Studios more lately than Disneyland. Universal guy 55. I think that might be your alter ego, OG. I guess if you do ever change it, I guess I can't call you OG anymore. I'll have to call you UG. And we got the Giant Peter show. It's an Italiano party. Absolutely. And thanks for coming in, Giant Peter show. Greatly appreciate it and your support. As he continues, congrats, George. Well, thank you very much. And then we got OG saying, Giant Peter show in the house. And see, Giant Peter show continues. Hopefully 300 subs for George before he heads to Epic. Heck, 500 subs. Let's just keep going. Let's go 1,000. Let's go 2,000. But thank you, Giant Peter show. I absolutely appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully, just want to keep growing the channel out. Hopefully it can become something, even greater than what it is now. And I want to thank everybody for your support, for commenting on my videos, viewing them, liking them, even giving, positive critique and feedback. I have a thick skin. I prefer, for someone to just come out and tell me, hey, this isn't working. Why don't you try this? Or like, I always welcome it because it only makes the content even better. But other than, saying that, I do appreciate everybody for the support of the channel. It definitely means a lot. Let's see. Giant Peter Show. I went to the OC fair a few years ago and had a wild adventure. Yeah, you could definitely have some wild times at those local fairs for sure. And Giant Peter said, we need part 2 of DCA Foods. Yes, actually, that is the original idea that we were going to film for tomorrow. Hopefully, like with the scheduling, because we are possibly meeting some of Abby's family there. So I want to film, but I don't, I want to be able to spend time with them. And I don't know how long this particular subject will take, and I don't want to rush it because I want to give you guys high quality. So we'll see how it goes. If we don't record this particular vlog tomorrow, we will definitely do it. But as I said, we are going to Disneyland tomorrow, and we will be filming something. So far, it looks like this is what it's going to be, but just in case, I don't want to make any promises. So we got Slimer in the house. Congratulations on 200. Thank you, Slimer. Appreciate it. And thank you for jumping in. And well, Mr. Dan Hansen. Congrats, George. Well, good. Thank you so much. And for all of you who don't know, Dan used to be my old co-host from a little podcast I used to be part of, the Grand Circle Tour podcast, which is basically I got to give everything to, because that basically is where I started. It kind of got me out of like my shell to actually talk about like, Disney and everything. And Dan, when I say old co-host, I mean old. Dan and I used to give each other shit all the time on there, which, Dan, we still have to do our Dan off, which I'd still probably whip your ass. So, but yeah, it's good to see you, Dan. And thank you for jumping in the live. Let's see. And we got Mr. Jason Hill. Did you hear part of OLC's 10-year plan? They talked about a second cruise ship. I did touch upon it a little bit on yesterday's live, Jason. Yeah, they're really pulling out all the stops because there was something that was posted on social media. I think it was Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, but it shows Tokyo Disney Resorts like a timeline of like where their like milestones will hit, and Tokyo Disney Sea will be hitting like an anniversary, and then Tokyo Disneyland's 50th anniversary eventually. And they're kind of pulling out all the stops with the reimagining possibly of Adventureland and changing some things over at Tokyo Disney Sea. But on top of that, they were mentioning that obviously everyone knows that OLC will be getting their own cruise ship as part of the Disney Cruise Line fleet, which should be going into construction soon, I believe, either this year or next year. But yeah, they're already in talks of building not one ship in Bob Iger fashion. They might be building two as part of the like in the Japan area. So that would be really exciting. And if those statements are true, then that would bring the DCL fleet to 14 ships. That's amazing. And Giant Peter Show says, Orange Grove 55, Italiano, That concept of interviews in parks would be interesting. Yeah, I think that would be very interesting, indeed. I'm very because it's different, no one really would have done anything like that before. So hopefully in time, if we find the right, people that's willing to do it and it's in the right environment, I think it'd be really cool. And Mr. Dan Hansen continues, have you been on any of the new ships? If so, thoughts? As of right now, I haven't been on the Treasure yet, and but I have been on the Wish. I will be going back on the Disney Magic um at the end of May of this year, which will mark my 10th Disney cruise. So I'll be going platinum after this cruise. And then in next April of 2026, the OG 55 crew is going to be sailing out of San Diego on the Disney Wonder, because it'll be Mr. Webba's first time, not just on a Disney cruise, but just on a cruise in general. So we feel like he'll definitely enjoy that. But I am very curious to go on the Disney Treasure. I really want to see that Haunted Mansion bar for sure. And so in time, I definitely will be hitting the new ships. The Disney Destiny will be online soon out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And then the Disney Adventure just, I believe, started setting sail out of Singapore. That one might take me a little bit more time, but I have a feeling with the price range, I have a feeling I'll be probably getting on the Destiny first before the Treasure. I don't know why. Maybe if I save up, maybe I can do another back-to-back cruise and do maybe like the Destiny out of Fort Lauderdale and the Treasure out of Port Canaveral. That would be cool. But yes, I have done the Wish, Dan, out of like the Triton class. I enjoyed the Wish. Anytime I'm on a Disney cruise, I absolutely love it. But I still prefer the like the older kind of style that they did with like the Magic, the Wonder, the Dream, and the Fantasy. I'm not a huge fan of like the build of the ship of the Wish, but again, I still enjoy it. A lot of people said that the Disney Treasure is still designed like the Wish, but it is much better. And Disney, I think honestly listened to the fans, because the Wish will be going, I think, on some European cruises, and then it's going to go into dry dock to fix some of those kind of like empty shell areas that they didn't get to work on yet. So the fact that the Wish is going into a dry dock with it just like opening just a couple years ago, again, I applaud Disney for wanting to fix some of those issues. Let's see. Jason Hill continues, I have a creator friend who asks famous athletes their favorite food and favorite restaurants. Then he goes there to eat it. He also, beings, okay, I don't know what, crazy food in the ballpark and eats it. X tomahawk steak. That's interesting. Like, so yeah, if you like ask someone, like, what's a recommendation? Like, what is your favorite food here? And then you go and try it yourself and review it. That would be cool. Let's see. Abby says, he looks like a happier version of the Disney Family Man 23. Yes, a lot of people have said that. I am a much happier, more smiling, more depressed than Mr. Disney Family Man 23 for sure. But Giant Pierce said, yes, I am the same Italiano. Let's see. Slimer says, calzone or stromboli, wrong answers only. Well, if it's wrong answers only, then I'll take stromboli. If it's the right answer, calzone all day, baby. Let's see. Giant Peter Show. I had an awesome calzone while on a cruise, but Sambaro strombolis are amazing. Okay, nice. Let's see. And we got Mr. Lucas and Disney in the house. Welcome in, Lucas. See, jealous of you doing a cruise. Yeah, it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite pastimes, to be honest with you. I started cruising back in 2013, 14. And any opportunity I can do, especially with a Disney cruise, I will take it all day, every day. And Orange Grove 55 says, Lucas Kim in the house. Let's go. Let's see. Lucas and Disney says George should also do Royal Caribbean and do a comparison. That would be interesting. I would just have to like work up the gusto to go on another cruise ship other than Disney. But for research purposes and for channel purposes, it would be nice to kind of do like a compare and contrast, give like the positives, the negatives, the critiques. And Abby says, let's go. I'm excited for my first Disney cruise. Yes, this will be Abby's very first Disney cruise. She has cruised before on other cruise lines, which actually I can get some of her opinion on that as well, to kind of like compare and contrast, because I'm for sure she'll have some intake of like things that you can get on a Disney cruise that you can't on other ships, or vice versa. She may find something on the cruise and says, you know what, Royal Caribbean or Norwegian does this better, or something or other. But for me, I have a very hard time with cheating on Disney with like the cruise line. Giant Peter Show says, I have my Barcelona and Italian Riviera cruise booked for summer. I'm going to Sicily, folks. Oh, you're going to my homeland, Giant Peter Show. My grandmother was Sicilian. And yeah, so my great, I don't know if it was my great grandparents or my great great grandparents came over from Italy. And then Orange Grove 55 says, ooh, fancy, Peter. Which actually, Peter, I'm going to go back to you for a second, like with this, with the Barcelona and Italian Riviera cruise. What is the, what cruise line are you going out of? Because actually for me and Abby's honeymoon, we're going to probably head over to Italy and Greece. And on top of going over there, because a lot of like the bigger European cruises are one ways, we're thinking of kind of like taking a Disney cruise. There's like a 12-night or a 14-night that, goes around to Italy, Greece, Spain. So we can kind of take a cruise and also get off the ship and see the sights and, go around different various sections of each country. So that'd be really cool. Let's see. And Giant Peter Show says also a quick Disneyland Paris and Spain trip plan. Yeah, that would actually be cool too. If you're over there, go to, Disneyland Paris. I think for me, I'm kind of waiting a little bit because I want them to work on Adventure World first, kind of get that stuff up and running. So that way it can extend my stay with Disneyland Paris. Also, while being over there, I might wait even a little bit longer to then experience the Universal UK park whenever that gets finished, because Universal works really quickly when, starts to get like things up and running. So if I'm over in the Paris area, might as well like kill two birds with one stone on that. Let's see. Giant Peter Show continues. I did a 10-day Mediterranean cruise a few years ago. Oh, man, that sounds awesome. Let's see. Slimer says, I posted this question on X, but who here would be on board with a Pirates retheme / upgrade or expansion in Magic Kingdom? Yes, I would. Because Magic Kingdom's Pirates literally is basically a circumcised version of Pirates at Disneyland. Like they just like, and they just didn't snip the tip. Like they took like 3/4 of that thing off. Basically, yeah, you're starting like halfway through the attraction as it's starting as compared to what Disneyland is. Um, so the fact that they're adding like that Pirates themed bar gives me high hope. I would love to see them do something with that area. Maybe like, kind of, transport like different various sections, like more of Pirates. That would be kind of cool. I know the Jungle Cruise kind of sits in between where Pirates and that god awful Magic Carpets of Aladdin is. I mean, if they would have had like more of like the Jungle Cruise like to the other side of that spinner, you can kind of like retheme that to Pirates. I mean, technically, I guess you still could. I mean, because the Jungle Cruise can still like fall into like the same kind of era of like the Pirates. So that would be cool. Giant Peter show, Princess and Norwegian are awesome cruises. Okay, all right, I'll keep that in mind. Let's see. And Abby says, I have gone on Carnival, Royal, Princess, and Norwegian. Yeah, I think it's funny. She's been on every single cruise line except for Disney. But hey, we're checking those boxes off this May. So she'll actually be on more cruise lines, than I have. I've just because I've only done Disney. That's really all I will do. But I think if I ever do consider going on another cruise line, at least Abby, kind of knows like that way around, like with Norwegian and Princess and Royal. I don't know if I'd ever go on a Carnival cruise. That might be pushing it a little bit. Let's see. Orange Grove 55 says, that's cool, Abby. I am same as you in that, like, I like a variety beyond just the Disney stuff. Yeah, for me, I think here's the thing with me. It's not the fact that I'm not willing to experience something outside of Disney. Maybe Giant Peter Show and Abby or anyone else has done. I've heard from a lot of people that like it's cheaper up front to do these other cruise lines, but then they start nickeling and diming you for like the soft drinks and like the snacks, the desserts. And that's where it adds up. Where with Disney, yes, it's a little bit more upfront, but once you're on the ship, you don't have to worry about all those extra expenses unless you want to, purchase alcohol or specialty, desserts and stuff like that, which OG and I did have our fair share of alcoholic beverages on the Disney Wish 2 years ago. And when you charge it to the stateroom, you don't really know how much you're spending until you get the bill at the end of your sailing. Let's see. Giant Peter Show. Carnival I did for small cruises a few years ago. Okay. Let's see. Giant Peter Show says, Norwegian is for my Barcelona, Italy cruise. They do a lot of Norwegian cruises out there, but very small ships compared to here in Florida. Good to know. And Jason Hill says, I did a one-way on the Magic from Florida to Barcelona. Lots of days at sea with few ports of call. Yeah, because there was one in particular. Now, obviously, with our wedding being in 2028, and then we were probably going to do our honeymoon like in 2029, just kind of like give like a year of like breather, like to catch up, like after the expenses of the wedding and everything. But the one either 12 night or 14 night that shows now, there is a lot of days at sea, but then like they have a lot of days as well. Like there's like 3 ports in Italy, there's like 2 in Greece, and I think like 1 or 2 in Spain. So if they have those kind of same itineraries or something close to it by 2029, and who knows, by that time, there's going to be even more ships online. So there may be new ports of call, new adventures, and who knows, maybe, we'll be on one of the newer ships. Orange Grove 55. Let's see. I actually love sea days, just sitting on the balcony, watching the water and sea life. Yeah, sea days are awesome because it's like you don't have to worry about like, okay, like, if we have any excursions or let's get off the ship and see this and do that. It's just like you just have a sea day. You could just relax, enjoy, hit the jacuzzi, go into the pool, do all that good stuff. Let's see. Abby says, circumcision pirates, LOL. Yeah. Let's see. Giant Peter show. The cruise went from Athens, Greece to 3 Greek islands. Is that Croatia, Kotor, Serbia, Slovenia, and ended in Italy. Oh, nice. Mr. Fancy. I see. OG, you would love an Alaskan cruise. It's funny, Jason. A lot of people, say the Alaskan cruises was like awesome, like to look at the glaciers and all that. That would be really cool. I would just have to get used to the fact of being on a cruise ship and having to bundle up with a coat. That would have to just be my only thing. I guess just because like I grew up, in like winter weather and everything, I'm trying to escape it. So maybe like in time, like after being out here in California for a little bit, to do an Alaskan cruise. For sure, which would be much easier, being in California to do an Alaskan cruise. Also, too, to really do any bigger cruises, because now that I've renewed my passport, I'll be able to do more of the extended, longer cruises for sure that go into like other territories and countries and stuff. I had to hold off on that for a while because I didn't have my passport, so I could only really do a lot of like the domestic cruises, so to speak, like out of Florida, going to like the Bahamas and the Caribbean. But now I can, really broaden my horizons now. And then Orange Grove 55 says, I bet Jason Hill, my mom went on the Disney Alaskan cruise and said it was gorgeous. Yeah, I have heard it is really nice. I see. Abby says, you would not like a Carnival cruise. It's too much of a party ship. And Giant Peter Show says, yeah, Carnival is just bad. Yeah, I've heard horror stories on Carnival. Not just because it was a party ship. I probably would enjoy that aspect, like if I considered it while I was like still like a bachelor and stuff like that. But it's more so like the operations and how things are just like not taken care of, and a lot of like issues and people going overboard and getting crushed in the elevators. It's like, oh my gosh. And oh yeah, see, Orange Grove. I wouldn't like it. I love to party, Abby. LOL. Let's go. That's funny. Oh, and then Abby continues here. Oh, gee, it depends on where you sail. I know your type. LOL. And then let's see. Lucas says, wasn't there a special Star Wars drink that costs $10,000 plus? Yes, there is a specialty like cocktail drink that is super expensive. I don't know what they put in it, but it has like a very like climactic, like a big production, like how it's presented, and it's like smoke comes out of it or something or other. I don't know. Who has spent that? I mean, if you have the money to afford $10,000 just on one drink, after that, I hope I piss liquid gold for that price. But like, that's like how many cruises in one. But hey, if you can afford it and you could do it and you want to try it, go for it. Let's see, Giant Peter Show says, Princess is legit nice since it is British. They even have tea time every day. How on brand. And let's see, Orange Grove 55 says, yeah, he confirms. Yeah, there was, which I think is ridiculous for Disney to charge that much for a drink. Yeah, I as I said, I don't know what they put in it that makes it so expensive, but I mean, that's very interesting. Giant Peter Show says, I buy the drink packages before getting on. The only charges are really the game shows and bingo. Okay. So yeah, so it's like an upcharge. Like if you happen to do bingo on the Disney Cruise Line, you pay for that, depending on how many cards you want to buy and what have you. So you buy a drink package before getting on. Okay. So basically, like if you pay for it ahead of time, it's like you don't really notice it. But for people who don't know that and they're getting on it, it's like you're getting charged, drink after drink after drink. But yeah, that's interesting. And Lucas says, well, that drink will be on my bucket list. Let's see. Giant Peter says, I always reenact the sweet life on deck when I'm on cruises for TikTok. It's so funny that, like, because I grew up in that era with the Disney Channel. I used to love watching That's So Raven, Phil of the Future, The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. I am so dating myself right now. But when it came time for The Sweet Life on Deck, I absolutely I preferred The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody over The Sweet Life on Deck, but I loved the theme song to Sweet Life on Deck. Yeah, that song is a banger. I love that song. Let's see. Slimer, Alaskan cruise would be my first pick. Living in Florida, I've had enough of the Caribbean, but not really. Yeah, I hear you, bro. It's like, you get a lot of that heat and everything. So it's like you still enjoy it. But, for you, it'd probably be a nice escape to kind of cool down some. Let's see. The Giant Peter Show. We need to send OG on a cruise with just baddies. Man, we do that. We ain't getting him off. See, Orange Grove 55 says, Slimer, I was blown away by how clear the water was at Castaway Key. California Beach doesn't have water like that. Yeah, I've been told. I haven't been to any of the beaches in California yet, just because it's been kind of like on the colder side. I'm waiting to experience it, for the summer. OG's constantly told me that like the LA beaches, you get like green slosh. But one of the beaches that I do want to check out in the OC area is Laguna Beach. I've heard nothing but good positive feedback on that. But to his statement, yes, Castaway Key, the water is crystal, like almost crystal clear blue. I absolutely love it. Also on this cruise that Abby and I is taking, that it'll be our first stop at Lookout Key, the second island that Disney owns. And I've heard that water is even more bluer than Castaway Key. So I'm very curious to see that as well. As I said, just going back on another Disney cruise, it's going to be phenomenal. Especially going back on the OG ship, the one that started it all, the Disney Magic. It's small but mighty, just like Disneyland. And I haven't been on the Magic actually since 2016, when my son turned 6. He actually turned 6 on the ship, for which I'm for sure you all have heard of the Terrible Twos. He was fine at 2. It bypassed him. He had the hellish 6. And literally, like, it went from like day and night. And he was like a little teenager. He went from 5 to 16, like complaining about everything. And it was just like, but yeah, that was the last time I was on the Disney Magic, was in 2016. So it'd be nice to get back on there. And again, just enjoy the cruise. And as I said, to be able to go to a new island, a new location, cannot wait for that. And Slimer says, Orange Grove 55, we have the best coasts. Yeah, honestly, like between like California and Florida, like that's just like, those are my go-tos. Like obviously California is now my home, but Florida will always still be my home away from home as well. So. Giant Peter Show says, now for gambling, I've gotten lucky on 2 cruises. I won a blackout on a scratcher where I won almost every prize, then $5,000 on slots the last cruise. Wow. Geez, I gotta take you along for those, because I have no luck whatsoever with that. So that's awesome. If I won that 5,000, I would probably tell them, don't even hand me it, just book me another cruise. Let's see. OG says, yeah, OC beaches are better than LA beaches. Laguna Beach is actually gorgeous. Yeah, I can't wait to experience Laguna Beach. And Abby says there are a few beaches in the OC area that are nice. Yeah, so there's like several beaches I definitely want to check out, but I know Laguna Beach is definitely on the top part of my my list. Giant Peter Show, no ocean water here, is Caribbean and Mediterranean water. Let's see. Laguna Beach and Newport Beach are great. Awesome. And then Slimer, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Seychelles, am I pronouncing that right, Slimer? Has probably the best beaches I've ever seen in my life. The water looks fake. It's unreal. Wow. And Giant Peter Show says, Newport has some very nice waters and baddies galore. Oh, geez. And then OG says, forget the terrible twos. There are some content creators out there going through the terrible 40s, complaining about everything. LOL. That is so true. That is so true. The terrible 40s. I love it. And then Abby confirms, yes, Newport does have some baddies. Well, there you go, OG. But I want to thank you all for joining me for this 200 sub live. Again, this was kind of a last minute thing just because I wasn't expecting on hitting 200 subs. And OG suggested that, it would be nice if I did a live. And I'm glad I did. I got to have a lengthy conversation with you all. And I love how with the lives, it can kind of go like any way. Like I wasn't not knowing like how it would go, but apparently this became a cruise conversation, which is always really cool. But yeah, I want to thank each and every one of you in the chat: Abby, Orange Grove, Giant Peter Show, Slimer, Matthew Murr, all the way from the UK, Lucas and Disney, Jason Hill, Dan Hansen. Let's see. I just want to go up. I just want to make sure I am not forgetting anybody. I think I got everybody covered, but I just... of course, Mr. Webba because he popped in the very beginning. Yeah, everyone, thank you for joining me for this live. Again, I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Looking forward ahead on much more content, more vlogs coming out of the parks from the Disney parks, Disneyland, Walt Disney World. Will be their opening day for Epic Universe. As I said, Abby and I will be doing our cruise on the Magic. We will be covering as much as we possibly can to bring to you on Citrico Central. And I'm going to do my plug again. I am an affiliate of the Magic Candle Company. If you enjoy their product and you want to bring a little bit of the Disney parks into your home, upon checkout, use my promo code, which is shown down below, Citrico15, for 15% off of your entire purchase. And yeah, so again, thank you everyone for being here. And as I always say in Disney Italiano fashion, stay healthy, stay safe, stay Disney. Italiano